Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we're back with another episode of Into Darkness. Our series is dedicated to our solo play campaign for Snarling Battle Studios, Space Station Zero, and this is Battle Part number 8. And in this battle part, I'm facing Challenge 10, the Smelting Factory Challenge, in my solo play campaign. So up to this point, I've pretty much taken on every single challenge that has been afforded to me, and this time now I'll be fighting against 6 worker drones, trying to make my way through the Smelting Factory as I try to discover the deepest, darkest secrets of Space Station Zero. So that being said, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll talk about the scenario rules as well as showing you the roster for Thundrik's Profiteer, which is my shipping crew from the Skyfarer. And then we'll talk about deployments as well as battle plans. So with that being said, let's get this video on a roll. Challenge 10, Smelting Factory. This large open bay has a high ceiling and is dominated by long smelting machines in the center of the room. The 2 smelting units are somehow still operational. The reason why is clear when you notice the drone workers feeding raw material into the 2 machines and collecting the finished product from the end of the conveyor belt, only to discard it into a massive pile. The purpose of all this has long since passed, but the work continues. As you enter, the drones turn their attention to you, clicking their massive grasping claws. So this scenario, ladies and gentlemen, is called Smelting Factory, and the challenges of this one are the smelting forges as well as the worker drones. Now the worker drones on this one have a life characteristic of 10, movement 6, combat score of 3. They also have a reaction score of 2 and intelligence of 1. And the worker drones are armed with massive grasping claws, which are close combat weapons that give them +2 to their combat score. Now for their special ability, they get a special ability called Grab, and whenever a worker drone successfully damages a crew member, that crew member is grabbed, and what ends up happening is the worker drone then moves as quick as they can directly towards the nearest smelter to throw them in directly into it. Now, of course, you can't escape the grasp of the worker drones. All you have to do is pass a reaction challenge test for 3, and you can escape the grab in that condition. Now, when it comes to Dragon Burn, the worker drone will move its full movement to the nearest smelting forge and throw the crew member within it. Basically, if they move within 1 inch of the smelting forge, the crew member suffers 8 damage. It is no longer grabbed. So things are really, really brutal. At the same time, you can, of course, take care of the smelting fires on this one. You can actually, turn them off. All you gotta do, of course, is take an intelligence check of 6, and you can shut them off as well. The challenge ends when you manage to kill all 6 worker drones. Once they're defeated, you have 1 of 2 options for your challenges on this one. You can take the emergency exit or ride a rusted conveyor belt tunnel in order to escape. And that pretty much makes it the scenario rules for this one. So the scenario rules over with. Let's go and talk about a couple of seconds so that way you can see the roster for Thundrik's Profiteers. So with the scenario rules over with, let's go and talk about deployments real quick. So over here on the upper right hand side is where my deployment for my group of Thundrik's Profiteers is located at. So up in the front is Bjorgen Thundrik, my commander, followed by Deadeye Lund, my doctor, and we have Garrett Allison, my pilot. In the back is Kazgan Drexker, my soldier, as well as Enric Ironhell, who is my engineer. Meanwhile, spread out throughout the 3 different deployment areas, we have 2 worker drones located over here who will drag my troops down to the smelting factory if they're able to. Over here we have a smelting factory, as well as 2 more working drones. And last, we have a 3rd smelting factory with 2 more worker drones as well. As mentioned before, pretty much my challenge in this one is to pretty much take on the worker drones, as well as destroy those guys. I can also take out the smelting forges if I need to, but hopefully I could just use my superior firepower and take these guys out. So pretty much my battle plan here is to pretty much stick together as a group. I plan on just kind of moving along the outside here of this battlefield edge here, maybe cut through and engage my enemy that way. That's one possible route. The only problem is if I take that route, I do have 2 sets of soldiers who can attack me with the drones over here, as well as drones over here. Or I can move along the top edge of the battlefield and make my way directly to this set here, take out these 2, then take out these 2, and then take out the last 2 as well. But, for the most part, though, my options are pretty much open. So with the deployment as well as battle plan over with, let's go directly to the top of turn number 1, and I get to activate first. That takes us directly to the end of turn number 1 for my activations. As you can see, for the most part, I pretty much started tucking up my unit over up here in the upper right hand corner. First off, moving Garrett Allison, opening fire directly onto this server drone. I was able to put 1 wound onto him as well. At the same time, I also used Kazgan Drexker, Bjorgen Thundrik, Deadeye Lund, as well as Enric Ironhell. And of course, over time, as the turn progressed, of course, the servant drones, the worker drones, all made their way directly around this corner, making directly way towards my characters up here. At the same time, they're also assaulting on the very top of the screen up there. With the combined fire from these three fighters of Bjorgen, Thundrik, Eric Ironhell, as well as Deadeye Lund, I was able to put 8 wounds directly on this first servant drone. And right now, I'm starting to get worried now because I realize that these guys are very resilient, and if I'm not careful, they'll basically swarm me and take my guys apart. As you can see up here on the top of the table, we got 2 guys looking up there getting ready to attack my people. And that pretty much makes up the turn for turn number 1. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and I get initiative, and I go first. So that takes directly to the end of turn number 2, and as you can see right now, my team is slowly being swarmed by these worker drones as they slowly close a distance in order to engage me in close combat. So actually I had a pretty successful turn, all things considered. First of all, I was able to finish off one of these worker drones over here on the bottom here. I believe it was because of Deadeye Ironhell, my engineer, was able to finish that guy off. Rolled a couple of 12s, so because I was able to destroy him. However, for the rest of the turn, the rest of the worker drones, they are swarming forward directly towards my crew up here on the top. Meanwhile, at the same time, up here on the top, this crew member up here was Kazgan Draxskewer, was being attacked by this worker drone. Managed to put 8 wounds on him with Kazgan Draxskewer, as well as Garen Allenson putting wounds on him. Now, they did try to attack Kazgan Draxskewer, but unfortunately for it, though, it failed to actually land any attacks on him. So because of that, Kazgan Draxskewer was okay. Same thing with the combined fire between Bjorgen, Thundrik, as well as Deadeye Lund directly onto this worker drone. I was able to put 6 wounds on him. However, that worker drone was able to put 2 wounds on Bjorgen, Thundrik, and actually had on grass for a little bit as well. Luckily for me, though, Bjorgen Thundrik did pass his reaction test, so because he did break away and then spend his section action to open fire with his energy-based weapon directly into him, putting those 6 wounds on him. So far so good for my team. No one's getting dragged away yet, but I still got my work cut out for me. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3. And that takes directly to the end of turn number 3. So as you can see right here, we have a huge brawl breaking out right here in the upper right hand corner of the table. So let's go on and talk about exactly what happened first. So first of all, I activated Kazgan Draxskewer. I was able to curb stomp directly onto this servitor right over here. Managed to take out that worker drone, no problem, put that guy out of action. I then managed to seal the second turn for initiative by rolling I think at a 10 on my second activation. So because of that, Garen Allenson opened fire with his energy-based weapon directly onto the second worker drone up here on the top. Managed to put that guy out of action as well. Now, of course, for the rest of the turn, the rest of the drones came up moving up forward. First of all, we have this drone move up, actually managed to latch onto Deadeye Lund, so that part was pretty brutal. And for my next activation, I had Garen Allenson open, Enric Ironhell open up onto this server drone. Was able to put 1 wound onto him, at the same time move up back here in the upper hand corner as well, so that way he can try to escape. At the same time, another drone came up forward as well to try to attack Bjorgen Thundrik. Unfortunately for him, though, he did fail, so because that Bjorgen Thundrik got away. I then used Bjorgen Thundrik's logistical expert ability to have him move twice his distance over here to the other side of the table, and then had open fire with his energy-based weapon directly into this server drone, putting 4 wounds onto him as well. So I'm having actually a pretty good time of it, actually. Getting ready to move some guys, took out 2 more worker drones, had the rest of these guys to fight. Unfortunately for Deadeye Lund, he's still being grappled, but luckily for me, though, that drone has some ways to go in order to get back to the nearest smelting point, so that way he can try to survive just a little bit longer. So with that being said, it ends turn number 3, so with turn number 3 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 4, and I got priority. And we're back with the end of turn number 4. So as you can see, once again, some more developments took place up here in the top of the screen. So first of all, I had Kazgan Draxskewer for my very first activation charge directly into this server worker. Managed to put him out of action as well with all the combinations from my attacks with my heavy melee weapon. I was actually rolled, I think, 3 12s in that roll. So because I had no problem smashing that guy whatsoever. And of course, as the turn progressed, one of the servitors managed to take Deadeye Line action, moving 12 inches directly down this corridor, heading directly to that first smelter up there in the top. Luckily for me, though, Bjorgen Thundrik is in the way. Between the combat between Bjorgen Thundrik as well as Deadeye Line, I was able to put 1 wound directly onto, no wounds, directly onto the servitor. However, though, I was able to break free with Deadeye Lund, so he's perfectly fine. However, though, if this thing managed to attack, I do my work cut out for me. But luckily for though, Bjorgen Thundrik is blocking the way for the most part. Meanwhile, up here in the top right-hand corner, combined attacks from Garen Allenson as well as Enric Ironhell managed to put 3 wounds directly onto this servitor. So I only have 2 more servitors left I gotta deal with before I end up winning this challenge. And that pretty much makes up turn number 4. So with turn number 4 over with, I go directly to the top of turn number 5, and I get to go first. And that takes directly to the end of round 5. So round 5, first of all, I was going to talk about what happened up here in the hallway. For my very first activation, I activated Deadeye Len, which is my medical doctor. He used the logistics or expert ability from Bjorgen Thunder to move twice his mood allowance directly towards the upper right corner of the table, so that way I can get away from being dragged. Luckily for me, I was able to steal initiative again by rolling pretty high, rolled like at 11, I think. So because I get to go first again, I get to activate another fighter. Activate Bjorgen Thundrik, had him fall back his normal mood allowance by using his jump boots, and have him open fire with his energy weapons directly into that server drone. I think I managed to put this guy up to 6 wounds, I believe, is what I ended up doing for this guy as well. Now for the rest of the turn activation, of course, he does try to, my opponent then activates his next little drone guy over here, which is located on the top. The server drone does try to attack Enric Ironhail, but unfortunately for him though, he rolled all odd numbers because I had no successes, so Enric Ironhail was perfectly fine. From there, I then activated my next fighter, which is Kazgan Draxcure. He used his point-to-point teleporter to move up closer in range, but then this server drone was able to finish him off with the last bit of his close attacks with his heavy melee weapon. Managed to put this guy out of action and net myself another dead drone for this challenge. And then lastly, between the combined fires of Garrett Allenson as well as Enric Ironhail, I was able to put 7 wounds directly onto this very last drone over here. And so this is the last one I gotta finish off before I finally win this scenario. And that pretty much makes up turn number 5. So with turn number 5 or with, we go directly to the top at turn number 6. And once again, I got priority for my activation. So with that, we're back for our very last turn for turn number 6. So up here in the upper right hand corner, the first thing I did is I activated Garrett Allenson. Garrett Allenson uses jump boost to move directly to the other side of the worker drone. I was able to put 3 wounds directly onto that guy, bringing him up to 9 wounds in total. The drone then activates next and tries to attack Enric Ironhail, but luckily for me though, I couldn't get past its armor force attacks, so because of that, it didn't do anything, it just kind of flubbed its rolls. And then from there, I had Enric Ironhail open up with his gun directly into it, managed to finish it off, and just like that, it took out the very last drone, and also accomplished this mission. So that being said, we go directly to the post game, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so let's go on to talk about the post game real quick. So first of all my characters of course survived, so no harm, no foul there. So the multiple of my characters are doing perfectly fine on that part. Of course I had some experience go up as well. Bjorgen Thundrik earned up to 16 experience points, while the rest of my crew have up to 8 experience points apiece. Nobody leveled up and there were no rewards on the scenario, so I'm doing perfectly fine. Now when it came to determining where I was going to go, I decided to take the emergency exit. So for our next challenge, I'll be facing challenge number 12, which is the environmental control room challenge, and that's exactly where my Thundrik's Profiteers will be going into next. So that's good to do for this week, guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.